You guys notice anything different about my car? It's a pretty big upgrade and expensive. Hope you get it. Unfortunately, I'm getting a lot of this pollen from the trees, but this is my new Cabriolet top. This is German canvas, waterproof of course. Brand new window. Basically everything is brand new, including the headliner on the inside. This is a manual top, so it has these handles to release. It's pretty tight because it's new, but I love it. Now I can't take credit for this one. I had a small part in this, but this was done by a professional shop here in my area. K&H did the top. They told me it would take about 4 to 5 days, which it kind of did, but you know, I got a call on day 2 and says, we have a problem, something's broken. There are some tensioning cables that go between the back bow and the front bow, and they were stretched out, broken. So he looked up the part number. They're only like 60 bucks each, but they're back ordered and couldn't get them for who knows how long. I mean, it could be months. So the car was already taken apart and we had to come up with a solution. And so if you remember, I took apart that red car that was crashed. It was also a Cabriolet. So a lot of those parts I have in my inventory. I wanted to wait before I sold those to make sure this top was gonna be okay. And sure enough, I had to dig into the part stash and pulled out one cable that was good. The other cable was not good. It was also, the hook on the end was stretched out, broken. So I ended up using my induction heater and a piece of steel and reformed a hook and actually TIG welded it back onto the stock hook and brought it over to him, put a little gold paint on it, like it looked like it was zinc plated. But I brought it back to him and he's like, yeah, we're good to go. Picked it up the following Monday and I'm pretty happy with it. Between the new front windshield and the new back window, this car is much easier to drive. There is a zipper. The window folds down like so, and then the top, you just lift up the top and it'll go right back on top of there. Now I like to put something between the window and the fabric so it doesn't scratch it. So I'm not gonna put it down all the way down right now. I'm gonna go get like a sheet or something from the house and make sure that the window stays nice and clean. I'm gonna get out of here because this pollen is getting all over the car. Here's how it sounds going down the road. You know, 4th gear, 60 miles an hour on PCH. There's really no wind noise to speak of. I hear a little bit from up here, but it is super minor. This car is probably the quietest one I have out of the Cabriolet, the 356, and the hot rod is of course loud. But this is totally doable. You hear just ever so slightly little bit of wind, but it is by all means not horrible. Here it is with the windows down. I love driving at dusk or early in the morning, and with the top down and the heater on, it's amazing. So now I have this old pillowcase to protect the vinyl window. It's a little bit short here on the ends, but that's okay because I don't want it to get too lumpy so that the top sits high. You want it to be all the way down so the boot can fit over it. You push the handles down so it doesn't hit the boot. Here's a better look at that headliner material. It's a very German print to it. When the boot goes on, we can just fold this over like this. But you can see the vinyl is just right there where this heavy bow sits right on top of it. So you don't want to scratch it. It's also important to use the boot, because if you don't, this is going to flap in the wind and this can just disintegrate with all the motion. So this actually protects the top as you're driving fast. I told them not to replace these. I'm just gonna re-Cerakote these. These are the original ones. If I Cerakote those black, they'll be really durable and thin and last a long time. Couple snaps right there. And that's it. And if you put the seats up, it kind of holds all this together. I considered doing the top myself, guys, but there's a couple tricky spots to it. I removed the top from the red car, and obviously disassembly is a lot easier than reassembly. There is a lot of special screws, a lot of parts in general. The number of linkages and hinges and adjustability of it is pretty mind-boggling. If you combine that with having to get the pleats right so it folds without binding, and then getting the headliner material done, it's definitely a professional job. So I just didn't want to tackle it given how many projects I currently have. But I'm super glad that K&H was able to do this. They are local to me, and I was able to help them out as needed with extra parts, and it just worked out great. Really happy with that result. I'll share the cost here at the end of the video, so stick around for that. It's not as much as you think. I know cabriolets get a bad rap for extra maintenance cost, but it's really not that bad. The other thing that I've done since I got the car home is on the way home I had a new rattle. I didn't have that before, and it sounded like maybe they left some wrenches under the seat, or something in the back seat was like loud, vibrating at certain RPMs. And the noise was only there when the top was up. It doesn't happen when the top is down. So I knew it had something to do with the top. And as I was sort of banging around on things, I discovered that the zipper is metal, and the little pull tab on the zipper was vibrating, like dancing in the little hook. And it sounded like wrenches. It was a lot of sound. So I've since come up with a solution. The car normally came with a pull strap, a leather pull strap, which is just enough weight to keep that zipper from dancing around. So I put that back on, even though the one that came with the car was broken. This pull strap is the original one from the car. It is torn, so I need to replace this with a better one. But for now, I'm going to put a little either rivet or screw through there and then heat shrink over it. This leather is very brittle, but let's see if that'll do the trick for now. So now it has a little pull strap, which is handy, and unzipping the window, you can pull with this, which is a lot better. And when it's in the down position, I think originally there was a little button right here. They didn't put that back. So theoretically, you could snap this thing down and keep it from rattling. I think just the weight of it alone was gonna help. So I've already tested it with black tape, and it definitely fixed the noise. So for now, I'm just gonna leave it like that. When I get a new strap, hopefully it'll be shorter. If it is, we can maybe put the button back in, and then you'd snap it in to keep it from vibrating. Every 40 years or so, if it needs a new top, then it's a bargain. I don't know why people are sleeping on these cabriolets. I don't understand the lack of respect for the cabriolets, honestly. So I'm longtime 356 guy. In that realm, cabriolets are more valuable. Don't know why. The drawbacks and what people claim is that it's not a sports car, and that you can feel the chassis flex, and somehow it's gonna be a detriment to your driving. And I think there is some truth to that. There is more flexibility in this chassis. However, it's still a sports car. It's still very capable. And I don't think most drivers can really tell the difference other than just hypothetical or what they think is better. If you think that you're a good driver, then you're probably not buying a G50 Carrera anyways. The engine's pretty numb. It's pretty heavy. I would look more into like a 911S from like a short wheelbase, like a 68 or 67 911S. If you're a true driver who wants to get everything out of the car and enjoy the analog feel of a car like this, you don't want the G50 Carrera. This car is about $30,000 cheaper than an equivalent coupe, you know, with the same kind of sport seats, limited slip, all the things this car has. If it was a coupe, it would be worth about 30 grand more for the same miles. It just doesn't add up to me. I think if you're looking to get into a 911, you should absolutely check out, you know, Targas and Cabriolets because they are cheaper and they're, I think, every bit as fun to drive. Plus you get the added benefit of being able to put the top down. Like I'm gonna go for a top down drive tonight. You lose the rear quarter window, which does change the styling a little bit. But in my opinion, it doesn't look bad. I mean, it's not like a goofy, bubbly top. I like the Speedster look. They made a Speedster in this year. I think the looks aren't bad, especially when the top's down. I think it looks great. The other feedback you commonly get, and I agree with this one, is safety. You know, if you ever had a rollover in a Cabriolet, it's not good. It's also not good in a regular 911. So the top itself is about $1,200, and then the labor to put it in was about $2,100. So for less than $3,500, you can restore the top on one of these. $3,500 every 40 years, it's not that much more maintenance.